Hi, I'm Sarah.
And I'm Jo, and welcome to episode 15 of the Society of Unpublished Authors. The Austrian poet Rainer Maria Rilke says, "It's not too late and you are not too old." And author Marianne Williamson takes this one step further and says, "You are right on time and you are better than you know." This week's episode is all about women pursuing their passions in mid and later life. And we are speaking to two guests this week. We're speaking to author Pat Simmons, and we're also speaking to figure skater Pippi Eisner. This podcast is recorded in Western Sydney on the lands of the Darug people. We pay our respects to the original custodians and storytellers of this land and to elders past and present.
Welcome, Pippi, to the pod. Do you want to tell us a little bit how and why you started figure skating?
Sure. Thanks for having me. This is very exciting. First of all, I just had to say it did make me giggle when I was introduced as Pippi Eisner, figure skater. Because yes, I am figure skating, but to think of myself on those lines is quite hilarious to me. So ice skating was one of those things, as when you're a kid, you'd go to birthday parties and you'd always have a great time with other people. And I always thought to myself, I love this. It brought joy even at that young age. But also it was something that I was well aware cost a lot of money. And I was well aware that my parents didn't have a lot of money and we already did loads and loads of things. So about 3 years ago, Christmas holidays, I went ice skating with a friend of mine who was from Finland. And so, of course, an exceptional ice skater, because that's what they do growing up. They skate and ski. And I just found myself smiling the whole time. I got off the ice. My face was hurting. Watching my friend skate, I was like, I want to do that. I want to do that.
Do you mind if we ask you how old you are, Pippi?
I am now 55. I started when I was 53.
All right. So what has this new hobby brought into your life and what do you love about it?
What has it brought into my life? Total joy. Total joy. When you're older, again, there's no expectations to be fantastic at it. You're going there, you're just there to do something totally for you, 100% for you. In my case, I found a community of mainly women, but not all women, men, young kids, old people, this amazing place that I can just go and skate. It's the best. I love it.
And has it been harder or easier than you had expected?
Well, I think being in your mid-50s, things are a lot harder than you think it will be in your brain. So harder, yes, but the fact that I'm actually doing it at all is amazing. And I'll often go there thinking, oh, yes, ice skating, here we go. When I come off, I'm just so happy. We're all in such good moods. It's great.
Is this a sport that is solo or do you do it in groups? How does that work?
Okay, so I go up to Erina ice skating rink during the week. They have coffee clubs that run, so from 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock. So coffee club is you can go, you don't have to have any experience. You can also be Olympians. There's such a mix of people that go. So we all skate for an hour. We have a coach. She gives us things to do. We get to watch fantastic skaters. We get to encourage people who are stepping onto the ice for the first time. So it's great.
And are you ever scared or worried about getting injuries, and is it worth it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. The ice is very hard. And yes, I have fallen over quite a few times. It is absolutely part of the process. The very first thing you learn is how to fall over and how to get back up again, which, again, as an older person, is actually really hard to get up. But yes, there's always that fear that you're going to hurt yourself. And I have hurt myself a few times. I do take precautions. I am wearing these delightful looking butt pads that so when you land on the ice, you don't hurt yourself quite so much. Yes, but there's a risk in crossing the road. There's a risk in doing anything. The joy that this brings me completely outweighs the risk of hurting myself.
Yeah, I love that. And you mentioned that you are part of a group. Are you the oldest person in the group?
Absolutely not. The oldest person that I know that skates is a fellow called Mike. He's 84, and watching him skate is amazing. He will fall over. He falls over quite a bit, but he just gets up again and off he goes. My great friend Mei Ling, she's 80, and she wouldn't mind me telling her age. She's amazing. She skates She was a ballet dancer at some point, you can absolutely tell. She skates with such beauty and grace. It's just a joy to watch. And then you have really young people that's like sometimes a 9-year-olds, 13-year-olds. You have uni students. You have mums. You have 30-year-olds. It's a complete mixed bag.
Amazing. And you recently entered a competition. So what was that like to do something just for the joy of it, but also in a competitive way?
Yeah, so our coach Natalie, there's a competition called Aussie Skate. So it's competitive, but it's not we're not competing for sheep stations here. It's all about yourself. So when we do coffee clubs, we're always working towards something. And so Natalie's always like, enter these competitions, work towards this, have a goal. You're having your goal, but it's all about you. Yes, people come first, second, and third, but again, it's all for you. The other thing about this is my oldest son, Tom, comes as well, and he absolutely loves it. He's the sort of kid that likes staying at home a lot on his computer. But he comes out, he enters into these competitions. The last competition I went to, I came first in the Dutch waltz. It's a solo dance you had to do. And I came second in the adult pattern 3. And Tom, my son, came first. I was very excited, mother there.
Amazing. And when you're doing competitions and things like that, what is the vibe like while you're preparing? Is everyone cheering each other on?
Absolutely. I do have that slight imposter syndrome as I'm standing there in my ice skating dress, watching, which in my brain are basically Olympians jumping around, doing all this. And then here's me, a middle-aged mother, about to step on the ice. But in the crowd, everyone's so encouraging. Everyone's so welcoming. And, you get out there. Again, my face from smiling so much always hurts.
I love that. And what would you say to anyone who's in midlife or older who has an unfulfilled dream or something they've always wanted to do? What would you say to them?
Oh, 100% give it a go. How do you know if you're going to love something or be any good at it unless you give it a try? Just do it.
Love that.
Just do it.
Love that. And we can't not mention your outfits that you wear on the ice. You are quite the vision. We're going to link to your Instagram, which is Pippadips #1. You look phenomenal when you're out on the ice. Do you want to tell us a little bit about some of these outfits and where they come from?
Well, I like to sew. I've always enjoyed doing craft and doing sewing. And as I got into my, mid-40s, 50s, nothing in the shop I ever saw sort of suited my vibe. I was also quite a big girl, so I thought, nope, I'm just going to make my own. Also love buying all my fabric from op shops, so whatever you find, that's what you go with. Ice skating is a very black. The ice is white, but everyone wears black generally. I think they're trying to look, I don't know, fit or slim. That is not my vibe, and I'm very happy to say that Coffee Club has started to incorporate colour. So I think people are afraid that they're going to look silly wearing colour, but that's where I come in. The colourful clothes, the colourful hair, just do it.
Starting a revolution.
That's right.
And do you have any advice for people who are starting something that's a passion and then they're not immediately good at it and they have those kind of imposter syndrome, those doubts? Do you have advice for just getting through it?
Yeah, that's a really good question, because there are days when I come off there and just go, oh, it's one of these sports. My friend Laura, she said this the other day, it's one of these sports that you spend a lot of time, a little bit of money, paying a lot of time to be totally mid at a sport, just to be totally average. But that's okay, because what's the other option? Not do it at all? There will be days that you'll just be like, oh, gosh. But again, the joy of it all, the joy, the community, it's just amazing.
So the skill might be mid, but the joy is like
yes,
off the charts.
absolutely, absolutely. I mean, today we did these. Basically, you had to stick your bum out in the air with legs straight and spin around in a circle, and it absolutely looked ridiculous. And we were laughing our heads off, and that was fantastic.
Love that. I definitely encourage everyone to check out Pippi's Instagram. You can see videos of exactly what she's talking about. Pippi, we are so happy that you came and spoke to us today, and I feel this is going to be a really inspiring conversation for lots of people out there who may have that thing that they want to try that just seems a little bit left of field?
Can I just say, I'll tell you one little story here. So I made the decision, right, this is what I'm going to do. I rang up Erin at Ice Skating Ring, found out about their coffee clubs, booked in to go to the first one, and then I couldn't bring myself to go. I was too nervous. This is not for me. What am I thinking? This is ridiculous. And then I got over myself and I booked into the next week, and then I sat in my car for half an hour going, just get out, just do it. Nobody's going to say, don't do this. And the minute I stepped on the ice, very shakily, and met my coach, there was nothing but, encouragement from the very first second. So I think in our brains we tell ourselves that we can't do these things, or we're not allowed to.
Yeah.
But
that is so true. And what about telling the people around you, like loved ones and friends? Did you tell them straight away what you're up to, or did you need a little bit of time as well before you started telling people?
I think a lot of people, particularly my family, were worried that I was going to hurt myself, which is an absolute thing. But I think I pretty much told everyone straight away. I love people's reactions, though, when they say, oh, what are you doing tomorrow? Oh, no, I'm going ice skating. Ice skating? I'm like, yeah, I go every week. Oh, do you? They just don't think that somebody
Yeah, I think
like
when
me.
you get to our age, we're supposed to be reducing our risks. But
no. You need to get stronger. You need to do these things because life can be very short. You got to live your life.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Pippi, thank you so much for joining us today.
My
We've loved
pleasure.
chatting to you. And keep going with your ice skating.
Thank
keep going
you.
with your
I've
outfits.
got another competition in November. Please come along.
All right, we'll be there. We'll bring the mics and we'll do an on ice interview. Thank you so much, Pippi.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Well, hello. Welcome to the podcast, Pat Simmons. It's so lovely to have you.
Thanks, Jo. It's lovely to be here.
Yeah, just a little bit of a bio about you before we get started. So you're a writer who writes poetry, short stories, flash fiction, and you've published, is it 6 children's books? I tried to count them up.
It's picture books, yes.
Picture
6.
books, yeah, 6. Yeah, amazing. And you've been published in lots of different anthologies and overseas and in Australia, and you've also won lots of awards. Is there anything you'd like to tell us about your writing that I've missed?
No, I don't think you've missed anything. I think you pretty much covered it.
Oh, that's good. All right. Well, this episode is all about people starting their passions perhaps a little bit later in life. And so for you didn't start writing seriously until you retired from your career in children's services. Is that right?
That's right, yeah. I mean, I had always loved writing. Sorry, the cat's meowing. I'd always loved writing, but I didn't have the time. And obviously you have to earn a living, and writing's probably not the way to do that. So not for me anyway. So yeah. So it really began, after I retired.
Yeah. And is it something that you would do would you do it that way again, do you think? Or do you sort of have regrets that you didn't start earlier, or it just wasn't possible?
No, I mean, I always wrote, even from when I was a kid. I loved writing. That was the thing I always loved doing. So even through the years of, all my years in the public service, people had asked me to write stupid verses for people's birthday cards and all that kind of stuff. So, I've always, always loved all that.
So you were writing, but maybe you just took it a little bit more seriously as you
exactly.
After you retired.
I had to earn a living,
Yes, this is true.
Yes, that's exactly why.
Yeah. And so how do you think, I'm just thinking about, we really love Michael Wagner's series that he has on YouTube about thinking like an author. And he's got a clip all about it's never too late to write a book. And he says that for those of us that are over 50, we can bring that life experience and wisdom into our stories. Do you think you would have written the same kind of things that you have published now if you'd done them decades ago?
No, definitely not. It would have been a whole different thing. And even just writing children's picture books, they would have been different because tastes in children's books has changed so much too, and style. So no, it would have been very different.
Yeah, and you're a grandmother, as I am. Do you think that plays a part in the types of books that you write for kids? I think it gives you a different perspective.
I think so, yeah, it does because you're closer, you know what they like, and I think that really helps. Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry, can you hear the cat? I'm so
Cat
sorry.
he wants to be in on this conversation. That's okay.
Very loud Siamese. Anyway, I'll ignore him and he might go
All
away.
right. That's all good. So for someone who has come to this publishing a little bit later in life, what have been some of the gifts or positive experiences that you've had from just being a little bit of an older writer? We're not old, but we're,
You can use old. Old's fine. So, sorry,
I'm just thinking about any of the sort of gifts that it's brought you at this age or the positive experiences that you've had.
Yeah, since I started writing.
Yeah, just being that, different.
Yeah, look, it's a whole new ball game, and retiring to obviously your life changes, and in 2013 I had a really tough year. My dad died, my husband died, so I had to reinvent myself, and I did it through moving, through new home, moving to a new area, and seriously writing. Yeah,
Wow.
and that was my story, really.
Yeah, that is a lot. That is a lot. And what have been some of the challenges, if you've had any, that you think have been particularly because of being an older writer or coming to it a little bit, later in life in retirement? Fenny?
Yeah, possibly. I don't know. I found it a really positive experience because I moved and I have met a lot of people around about my age in this area who write, and I've joined writers groups, and some of them, young people as well. And I haven't found it a negative experience being on it.
Yeah, so you haven't found ageism or anything like that in the industry?
No, I mean, I don't put myself out there as much as I probably would have done 30 years ago. But I'm happy doing what I'm doing in my way,
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, and you have published in quite a number of different ways. You've traditionally published, you've been in lots of anthologies, you've also self-published. Can you tell us a little bit about those different experiences?
I have to say, self-publishing in general is not for me. I did a course years ago. It's a little book. I did a course in self-publishing. It was 10 years ago, and it was excellent because they took you through the process, and you ended up with a book. And I learned all the steps you had to take. And I thought, this is not for me at all. It's just, it wasn't for me. When it came to the book about my dad, I had no idea how to start that. I would never have started it had I not have found a coach. And my coach worked with me on the book for about 2 years, because I used diary entries right through the book, and I had no idea how to transcribe those onto a page. I just couldn't do it, so I wasn't going to do it. And anyway, I found a coach who was wonderful, and she's worked with me for about 2 years, and she edited and she did all the self-publishing side of things. So it's definitely not a path I would take.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Lots of people love it, but it's not. For,
it's interesting that even after being a writer for so long, you still felt that there were still things you needed to learn. So you hired a coach. I love that idea of just that lifelong learning. And
absolutely. There was no way I could have done it. I mean, I couldn't even have worked out how to, the pictures on the pages. I wouldn't have even known how to do that. Yeah. So and she's been great. I would highly recommend her. And the book wouldn't be out if I hadn't had help.
And what kind of a response have you had to this book? Can you tell us the name of the book? It's a bit wonky.
Yeah, sorry, it's called Still a Bit Wonky. I know the print is going to come out backwards. Okay, so it's called Still a Bit Wonky. That's my dad and me when I was 3. And it is a book of diary entries, really, because he was tracking his dementia journey.
Wow.
So, it was a fascinating book to write. I mean, we all knew he was keeping a diary. That was no secret. But the diaries were given to me when Mum passed away, actually. And I just put them away in a cupboard. Dad's diaries. Yeah, we always knew he was writing in them. And then I pulled them out one day and I went, oh, my God, he's actually tracking his dementia journey. He's putting Still a Bit Wonky, 50 days, blah, blah, blah. And he
Wow.
did that for the best part of 7 years. So that was when I thought, I've got to do something with this because this is quite special. And
Yeah,
that was when I found the
yeah,
coach.
that really is so special. And what kind of a response have you had to the book?
It's doing really well. Dementia Australia loved it and put it straight
Wow.
into their library, so that was nice.
Yeah.
My local bookshop took copies, and I mean, the great thing about when you go down this self-publishing part properly, it's everywhere. My cousins in England bought it as soon as it came out, so that was pretty. That was a bit, yeah, it was gobsmacking, really. So that's the upside of it, but I would never do it again. It's yeah.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. So your
Yeah.
picture books you've done more traditionally published, or you've done some hybrid publishing,
Yeah,
I think.
yeah,
So that's quite a different experience. Yeah.
my picture books are all traditionally published in one way or another.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I can talk about different companies, but perhaps we could do that another time. But
Yep.
basically, they're just normal publishing. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I see them in the library. I see them at work a lot.
yeah.
I see your
Well, that's
cicada
nice.
sing. Yeah, cicada sing song and Ziggy Zoo. I still see, and is
Yeah,
it George with the dog? And
yeah, The Cat Thief. Yeah,
yep.
Ziggy
Yeah.
was my very first picture
Right.
book.
Yep. Yep.
I wrote a poem. I was on holiday in England ages ago, and I wrote a poem for my niece, who was Zoe. She was little then, and she was always grubbing around in the garden. And so I wrote it as a poem when I was in England. And then when I came, I think there's a lot of luck involved in publishing. And I got back to Australia, and Little Pink Dog Books, which is a very small company, and they're not publishing anymore, I don't think. They opened their doors, and I submitted it, and I got it. So I was really lucky. So I had two with them. So
Amazing.
yeah.
Yeah. And is there anything that you think you wish you'd known before you started this writing or more serious writing and publishing journey?
I don't know. No, I think I've loved learning because that's kept the old brain active. And
Yep.
no, I'm happy with how I've done it.
Yeah. And what about any tips or advice you have for any other people coming to writing, perhaps in their retirement or a little bit later in
Oh,
life?
absolutely. Well, I was very lucky again. I found a writers group. That's the best way, as you would know, to to give you confidence and to have feedback. So I belong to two writers groups down here, and I think that's really important to
Yeah.
you need the contact, and you need friends, and you do need people around you, not necessarily around your own age, but it helps because at my writers group they're all different ages actually, but some are published, some aren't, some are artists, so yeah,
Good mix of
a
different
good
sort of creative.
yeah,
Yeah.
it keeps you sane, and it keeps you going, because if you're going to have meetings, you've got to come up with something. Otherwise, you can't turn up to a meeting and say, "Well, I haven't got anything this time."
Yeah.
You can't do
Yeah.
that.
It's very motivating, isn't it?
So it is motivating. Yeah,
And it
yeah.
sounds quite idyllic to be retired and have all that time to write. But in a real practical sense, do you find it hard because perhaps you do have a bit of spare time? Do you find it harder to lock in and write the less busy you are?
Yes, self-discipline is really important because it's easy to just meander along and do other things. So, yeah, you've really got to have some self-discipline. You've got to set yourself some rules. And again, being in writers' groups helps. And also, the good thing about being retired too is there are lots of events you can get to that I probably couldn't have got to when I was working. So,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
the upside.
Yeah, that is definitely an upside.
Yeah.
All right. So anyone who wants to find out more about you or find out about your books, and particularly your most recent book, where can people find you online or connect with you?
Okay, well, I'm on Insta. Yeah, I don't know how to tag these things. What is it? At blah blah blah. Anyway,
Yep.
and I'm
Yep.
on
We'll
Facebook.
tag you as well. Yep. Yep.
Okay, and I'm on Facebook, and yeah, and I have a website. So yeah,
Yep.
so I guess that's it, really. Yeah.
Amazing. All right. Is there anything you want to tell us about your writing journey or what you've learned along the way? Or
Not really. Look, I've always loved writing, and I have to shout out to Cadbury's, because when I was at primary school in England many years ago, so in the 1950s, Cadbury's would run a competition every year to all schools, all public schools, and they'd give you a prompt. And I love a prompt. I work really well with prompts. And they would give you a prompt, and you can guess what the prize was if you won. So I won that twice. So I had a lot of chocolate.
that is fascinating. I love that. So you really have had this passion your whole life, but you've just got a bit more time for it now.
I do love a prompt.
Yeah, I actually heard someone yesterday on a podcast saying sometimes we are actually more creative if we have constraints. So perhaps that what a prompt is.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And that's why I love 100 worders. I mean, I'll never be a novelist. I don't have the patience, and I probably don't have the years left either, but I don't have the patience, but I do love writing short, and I love the discipline of 100 worders, and I have had a book of 100-word flash fiction stories published.
Yeah, do you want to tell us a little bit more about flash fiction for anyone who hasn't heard of that before? Because you are so good at it.
Well, only because I love doing it, and I love writing short. I mean, that's why I love picture book texts as well. Yeah, and I love a prompt. I can work with the prompt. So yeah, and it's a discipline thing too. So I do it every week. I belong to a Facebook group, have a prompt every week, and I've been doing it for about 10 years now. So yeah. I'm not saying I haven't repeated some of the stories over those years or changed the names or whatever, but yeah.
What's the name of your flash fiction collection that you put out?
52-week flash fiction group on Facebook. It's a Facebook group.
Yep. Yeah. And what's the name of your flash fiction book called that you published?
My book called, I've got a copy there. It's backwards, I know, but Gone in a Flash.
Oh, Gone in a Flash. Amazing.
Published by Tangera Press. Yeah. Yeah. And love them. Love doing that.
Yep. All right. Well, Pat, thank you so much for talking to us.
My pleasure.
It's so good to see you and hear what you've been up to, and hope that your a little bit wonky keeps making its way in the world, because it sounds so unique.
And I mean, yeah, this will be how I find out more about self-publishing, when I see how it does or doesn't go. But it seems to be going okay. So yeah.
Amazing. All right. Well, thank you so much, Pat. Thanks for talking to us.
That's it from us this week. You can find links to everything we've spoken about today on our website, thesocietyofunpublishedauthors.com. And you can find us both on Instagram at jo_diggs and author Sarah Della Piedra. And our Instagram for the podcast is the Society of Unpublished Authors. Thanks for listening. Bye.